Deep inside Gaza now, Israeli troops taking over houses and planning movements. Outside, these Israeli Defense Force pictures showed tanks and armoured personnel carriers manoeuvring through Gaza. This is a proper invasion and bombing campaign that appears to be growing by the day. The Israeli government wants this to be seen home and abroad. But there are pictures less likely to be approved by the IDF as its campaign continues. This terrifying video is captured by a Gaza journalist on the main road heading south from Gaza City. The car ahead hasn't seen there is a tank on the right. The journalists film as the car suddenly attempts to turn. The tank fires. The journalists say an entire family was killed. In a panic, they rush to get away. Other cars are travelling towards the tank. They lean out of the car, shouting for everyone to turn back. There is the sound of another tank round. Some stop, others do not. The road south is now blocked. The Israeli Prime Minister says there will be no let-up.
Calls for a ceasefire are calls for Israel to surrender to Hamas, to surrender to terrorism, to surrender to barbarism. That will not happen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible says that there is a time for peace and a time for war. This is a time for war.
The aerial onslaught on Gaza is quite staggering in its intensity. IDF video shows building after building being destroyed. And eyewitnesses have told Sky News that the north is now cut off from the relative safety of the south. By splitting Gaza in half, the Israeli Defense Forces can now focus their attention exclusively on the Hamas positions in the north, in Gaza City, and of course the tunnels beneath the city. But this manoeuvre does raise questions about the safety of civilians, thousands of whom have stayed behind or have even returned. Hundreds of thousands have moved south, many to the city of Khan Yunis. It has been attacked, but it's in better shape than towns to the north. With his family, Abdul Nasser Lajkar has made it from Gaza City. He says he had no choice.
It doesn't matter if you're in Gaza or Khan Yunis or anywhere else. There's no safe place. There's no place that is immune from the bombing. Gaza is being bombed, Nusrat's being bombed, Khan Yunis is being bombed. That's why we're sitting on the street.
Showing us shrapnel marks on his car, he says the journey south was horrendous as Israel attacked.
We saw a lot of destruction. They hit a car in front of us and we saw legs and hands on top of the car. They all became like when you slaughter an animal, how you cut them up into pieces. That's what happened to the occupants of the car. We got out of our car and we could not comprehend what we were seeing.
The Israeli military is determined to succeed. Hamas and its militias are determined to fight. Civilians are stuck. There is nowhere to run and nowhere to hide in Gaza. Stuart Ramsey, Sky News in southern Israel.